Hey, Silver, stop.
Listen, this channel is going to be the channel where there's a lot of interruptions, I feel like. There's a lot of kids and a very barky dog.
Hey, welcome back to Jonestead Farm. So thanks for watching the last video. We really appreciate it. We gave you a little bit of history about just who we are as Jonestead Farm, but we just want to take a few minutes and just kind of tell you a little bit about like what we've done over the past 2 years, kind of what's been going on. So well, let her kind of just lead the way.
All right. Well,
Hey, buddy.
We bought the farm in May of 2023. And of course we were in a rental. There was a lot of there's a lot of people in our house. So I would say the first at least 3-ish months was just getting our house in order. Figuring out the home setting for all of our people. He's so cute. I could die. If you don't have children in your 30s, you're missing out, bro. You need
Or
kids
40s.
Or 40s. Oh yeah, you're 40. I'm not yet. Also, there's this feral child that you will see in the background because, that's how we live here. Anyway, we spent the majority of 2023 really kind of just working on cleanup. Whenever you buy land, no one tells you how much trash you're going to find. There's a lot of trash. And I think we also spent a lot of time just getting our home in order, of rooms painted and making your house your home and all those kind of things. So we really were antsy and ready for a lot of stuff come the spring. But we did do a couple things in 2023 to set up our farm.
Yeah.
And I shamelessly ordered chickens from Murray McMurray Hatchery once we were under contract with our house, because I was like, Dave, can I order chickens? And his oh so kind self said yes. So that means we have to put him in something. So we ordered some layers. We ordered about 30 layers. And yeah, he had to do some building.
Yep.
So we had some building. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, so we really wanted to do the sustainable, I guess, farming or whatever.
Yeah, permaculture, sustainable permaculture.
And our pasture. So when we moved in, just really quick, when we moved in, so right behind the camera is the end of our backyard. There's a fence, and then now you're looking at our garden and our pasture. Everything from this fence to the back of the pasture was 6-7 foot tall. Some trees were 10 foot tall. And it was just really, really overgrown. And so we spent a lot of time. I mean, it took me a couple months just to get everything knocked down. And then after you do that, you find just stuff everywhere. There were sheds that were crippled to the ground, lots of wood, random stuff just laying around. We filled up a giant dumpster.
We did.
Of just stuff.
We did. But there were some treasures. There were some diamonds in the rough. I mean, you found some pretty cool stuff. Found a nice fence gate. It's not all garbage. We found some really great water troughs and stuff like that. So it was blessings with the trash. But
a lot of extra lumber.
A
lot of extra lumber that saving just in case could use it for something. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we wanted to really get this pasture kind of better taken care of. Mm-hmm. We needed it. We wanted some better grass growing. There was lots of weeds, lots of random stuff. So we figured getting chickens and whatever out on the pasture would be helpful. We ordered a Premier fence, electric netting.
Premier One, yeah.
A Premier One fence, and with solar chargers. That way we could just move our chickens every couple days or so.
Yeah.
And then I built a
Chickshaw
from Justin Rhodes. Yeah. We built that, and has 3 nesting boxes in it. It holds I think they say 32, 36 chickens, something like that. I think you could really fit probably 40 in there. But we've at most had 32, I think.
Ish. Yeah. We've had predator pressure here and there, so we run about 30 chickens in there.
Yep.
But I know I've heard Justin actually say if you are putting them out on land, depending on how much fencing you have, you actually can get up to like 60 birds in there because they're really just roosting. But it depends on how much fence space you give them. Like, I don't think 60 birds would be great in the fence size that we'd have. We'd have to double it up in order to have enough pasture space for them to, for it to not feel like mismanagement. But
yeah, and so the idea eventually will be to maybe like every year get 15 new layers, and then we just rotate the flock as they stop laying. At the peak, when they started laying like February of 24, right? January.
In the middle of an ice storm. It was wild. We got our first egg. It was freezing cold, and we ended up going out to the barn because we had moved our Chickshaw into the barn with our Premier One fencing because we were worried that there was going to be like predators that can get in. Our barn has tons of holes and stuff in it. And so we go out there, and Dave's like, and pulls out this beautiful white egg from our little leghorn. She's an overachiever. She still lays beautifully. If you don't have leghorns, get yourself some leghorns.
Yeah, so I think we had close to 30 hens, and we were getting, at the peak of summer last year, we were getting 24, maybe 26 eggs a day.
Yeah, there was a lot. It was more so the spring. Once it got really hot, they start to lay a little less. But yeah, we had a ton of eggs. So much that we were even selling them, which was really nice because it helped pay for their feed costs a little bit.
Yeah.
But they say, replace your chickens every year-ish, because after their third summer is when you want to decide if they're going to be your pets or decide if they're going to be stew. They will be stew here because I prefer to have my animals work for us. We don't necessarily like having freeloaders.
Yeah, everything's got to have a purpose, really.
Yeah.
There's not much on our farm that doesn't have a purpose. Maybe our dog.
He has a purpose. He's our guard dog.
He's a guard dog, but
yeah. Well, he's grandfathered in because he was around before the farm, so we get to keep him. He's so cute. He's smiling right now at us.
Yeah, so the fall of 23, the first thing we do is clean up and get some chickens and get them out, taking care of some of the pasture and getting us some eggs.
Yeah. Eggs started in January and didn't let up. We've had eggs pretty much since we've been here. We've had a few lulls when they molted, but for the most part, that's what we've done.
Yeah, we'll show you guys some pictures of some of the stuff that we were building and working on.
Yeah.
And but we can go take a look at the chickens.
Yeah, let's go show them the chickens.
Here's the Chickshaw and the Premier fencing. They've got nesting boxes on the other side.
So we installed an automatic chicken door, which is not part of the normal design. Normally you just let it out and it has latches, but we're actually getting ready to take that off to use it for something else because our chickens like to peck at it, the little solar charger, and knock it off, and then it doesn't open, and then they get trapped and they get mad. So we just turned it off. They just are constantly open at this point. So, whatever. Harvey does his job apparently. Harvey's our rooster.
Harvey's our Americana rooster.
He's beautiful. We had a few other roosters. One of them didn't make the cut. He was aggressive, and the other one decided to take half our flock on a journey and become raccoon food.
They're going to go in and check for the eggs.
So we have a nice, pretty basket. My Americanas lay these pretty little green eggs. This is a Leghorn, man. She overachiever. I actually have 3 more in my new flock that we got. We ended up actually getting 2. We're gonna have 2 extra layer flocks this year, which is pretty cool.
So the next thing for spring of 24, we wanted to raise as much food as we could for our family, and especially, we're kind of into the whole like trying to get as much not GMOs out of our diet and less processed foods, and so we wanted to raise as much meat as we could for ourselves, for our families.
For sure.
And so we decided to do some meat birds, and I think the first round we did 60, 70.
We bought 80, and we bought 80, and we had really good success with them. Yeah, you got eggs. Have fun. Go play. We had 80 birds, and we ended up butchering 75, I think.
Yeah.
So we did pretty good.
Yep. And We do the Cornish cross from Murray McMurray.
Yeah.
And they did a really great job. And we do our own butchering as well. And
That was fun.
it was fun.
Yeah,
There's a lot to learn.
Yeah, we did. There was a lot to learn, but honestly, those are the parts I think where we had already put a lot of that in our brains. Like we had already done a ton of research before we bought the farm, kind of knowing, okay, I know I want to buy my birds from Murray McMurray Hatchery. Not that there's anything wrong with any other hatcheries, but I just really love the mission and just I really love supporting businesses with epic hearts, and that's how I feel about Murray McMurray Hatchery. And the same thing with like, okay, we can't necessarily butcher our chickens right now, but let's learn how in case we ever need that skill. And so it really came in handy because once it's butchering time for us, like I think we just did a quick little flyby. We subscribed to Abundance Plus with Justin Rhodes, and so we were able to just go in, kind of refresh our brains and go, okay, we got this. This is good. We got this. So yeah, it went really well. We got all of them butchered in one day, which is I feel like pretty epic since it was our first go around.
Yeah. It was a long day.
It was a long day, but we had friends that came out and we made it a whole thing. It was a lot of fun, and luckily we were able to buy some pretty amazing equipment to really make the process go quicker. And we'll have a video about what we use and stuff coming out later.
Yep. So I'll show you our meat birds today. So we put them in we built the Siskovich tractors.
Yep.
And they worked out really well. They work out really well for things that aren't chickens too. We had our turkeys in them last year. Really? We even had our piglets in them last year for a little while. Yeah,
just to get them kind of used to us, and they were so small. We had some old spots. We'll talk about them in a little bit, but they're so cute. Hi guys.
So right here behind us, you'll see we have two tractors. We got we started with 120 birds, but I think we had a hailstorm and some of them didn't make it under the tarp.
They did not. They're not the smartest kids on the block.
Yeah, so we lost we're probably down like 10 birds, something like that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this year we decided to beef it up. Last year actually, so end of 2024, we did another round of meat birds, and this is where putting that practical application into practice. So we did meat birds in the summer, summer, and they did great. We thought, okay, this is awesome. Let's do some more in the fall because we were running low on chicken. And then we did another round in the winter-ish months, fall, winter, and it was rough going, having to butcher these chickens in too cold of temperatures because we thought they would grow out faster than they did. But yeah.
Yep. These guys get really big really fast.
They do.
I think you have to butcher them like 8-9 weeks, something like that, because if they get much older than that, they just put on so much weight, so much meat that their systems just can't really handle the heat, and their hearts will just give out.
Correct. So especially when you're doing them in the spring. A lot of people actually won't even do meat birds in the spring. Sometimes they will get their chicks more closer to the end of summer, and then they're butchering in the fall, which I think might really be ideal. We are really busy in the fall, so it makes more sense for us to do them in the spring. Our boy plays football and our girls cheer for football, and so that makes it kind of harder on the weekends for us in the fall. So I think spring into summer works for us pretty well.
Yeah, we did a round last year in the fall, and one thing that we didn't butcher them until like the first week of January.
I just dropped all those eggs. Don't cry over the broken eggs.
We didn't butcher them until the beginning of January, and one thing I noticed about them is their feathers were really hard to get out.
They were, but I will say I made the best chicken stock with those birds. I don't know if it's just maybe they put on extra fat. We did switch up their feed a little bit mid-season, and so like we went with a local feed supplier here versus like just buying stuff, at a feed store. And that definitely, I feel like, probably helped it. But man, that chicken stock, it was the best chicken stock I've ever made. And I made the best chicken noodle soup with it. It was so good.
Yep. So these guys will be ready mid-June. So we'll be having a butcher day mid-June, and
Yeah.
fill the freezer back up.
Totally. And if you're local to KC, we are offering butchering workshops because we've done them now for enough to be able to really go, we got this. And so we would love to have people out. Again, community is part of what we love to do. So if you're in the KC area.
Yeah, for sure. Not only do we want to share like our experience and everything, but like we also have a lot of the equipment that you would need to butcher, and so we'd love to connect with people locally, and you know, don't feel like you got to go buy all the equipment.
That's right.
Connect with a local homesteader, and maybe you can borrow it, rent it, share it.
Yep.
So.
Yep, totally. All right. So
Then
what do we do next? You know what we did next?
Well, we bought pigs.
We did. So I had this brilliant idea. And again, I'm kind of giving you like the good and the bad. I had the brilliant idea of, hey, Dave, let's buy pigs instead of a tiller, because the pigs can be our tiller and then they become our food, which in theory is brilliant when it comes to the permaculture aspect. I would rather have food in my freezer, and they are amazing tillers. But you know, you hear so many people say, don't ever buy animals unless you have somewhere to put them. Well, I was like, hey, he's building these Suscovich tractors, and you know, we could just put it in that. Well, he didn't have it done yet. We have piglets, and he's scrambling to finish building it the day that we brought the piglets home. Hindsight 2020, don't buy the animals till you have somewhere to put them. But they were epic. They were escape artists. We learned some things. Our old spots did not mind electric fencing.
Yeah, we started them with the electric netting from Premier One. We just got the pig netting, and but we actually bought not a solar charger, but just electrical charger for it, and it they minded it most of the time, but then they wouldn't, and they would get out, and so
in the most inopportune times, whenever the beard was gone.
Yeah, they often would try to get out,
Yeah.
or get out whenever I was at work or just gone. So.
And I was nice and big and pregnant, so it was a fun adventure.
Yeah.
For the kids and I, but we learned some things, and we actually are getting old spots again this year. After tasting the pork, I'm like, Dave, I can't go back. So we are gonna go ahead and bite the bullet and do that again, but we've learned some things, and we're gonna fence them differently.
Yeah, we ended up buying hog panels after they got out a couple times, and that worked out so much better. I would say it's a little more difficult to set up and tear down when you gotta move them around.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was way better, and we first started with just zip tying. Like, we used T-posts and hog panels and zip tying it, but I mean, they're big animals. They're really strong. They would break those zip ties, even just fill the corner or whatever with them. So we bought some of the T-post brackets, and that's been a game changer. Like, they don't get out. We have 3 coonies now, and we got them from a neighbor. They were needing someone to take them off their hands, so we got 3 coonies, and it's been, having those brackets on the panel has been such a game changer than using zip ties.
Totally.
So
Coonies also, they're just more docile and chill. I will say our old spots are very docile in comparison to what I've seen other hogs, but they're big, and these coonies, they're almost like little pets.
Yeah, I think they're a couple years old, and I think they're like maybe 150 pounds or so.
Yeah.
But our old spots, we butchered them at like 9 months, and they were almost 300. They were like 275.
Yeah. They were females too. We had gilts. So this year we're getting barrows. I'm really hoping that we'll able to raise them up just maybe a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But the pork, so good, and I'm so sad we're so close to the end of it. We've eaten through a lot of the really good cuts, and he's eating carnivore, so that definitely makes it like so much better to raise your own meat, because you really just taste the quality. And so
you taste the quality, but also, like, whenever your animals are being pasture raised and stuff, like there's so many more nutrients
Yeah.
in the meat that you're getting.
Totally.
Um,
Especially if you're doing carnivore. I mean, that's your only diet. So animal products need to be good quality.
Yeah.
Plus, what else are we doing this for anyway, right?
Yeah.
Well,
sure.
you know, besides the fun of it.
The fun of it,
This boy.
better nutrition and food security.
That's right.
We don't have to worry if the world shuts down. We are good to go.
Yeah, and also, like, on that, food security is not necessarily just, oh, we have land. Like, skills are the number one thing you should have. Because you could rate, like, I think back on, like, where we lived in past places and stuff. We easily could have done meat birds in our backyard. No one would have even known, depending on, like, your regulations and whatnot. I mean, you build one of these little Siscoviches and have them run around your backyard for a few weeks, depending on how big your yard is, you easily could raise your own meat in a small space. It's really learning the skills.
Yep.
So, anyway.
Yeah, so then we had the we got the 2 hogs.
Yeah.
We raised them up and we butchered them right before Christmas.
Yep.
And it was a really great experience. I think raising hogs is probably the funnest experience to me on the homestead so far.
Yeah. I would say the chickens were mine because laying birds, because I have just dreamed of going out and having a colorful egg basket, and I just think that that's super fun, as well as the garden. But I love all of it. I love how the whole farm is full circle. That's my favorite thing. We also got the turkeys, which I know he briefly talked about, but we also butchered those and had our first Thanksgiving with farm fresh turkey, and that was fabulous.
Yeah, so we ordered 10?
Yeah.
We ordered 10 turkeys and ended up butchering 8.
We had a pretty good return on that.
We only lost 2, and so many people said expect to lose up to 50% of your turkeys, but we had a really great return. We did the
artesian blacks, and then we did Murray whites. So we didn't. I kind of placed the order last minute. We decided once, it was probably springish time when we went ahead and placed that order. Some of the varieties and breeds and stuff that I wanted to get, they didn't have available because it was late in the season. Yeah. But we did 5 of each. We butchered 4 of each. It's kind of funny how we lost 1 of each. It's kind of weird, but yeah, they're delicious. That was the best Thanksgiving turkey we've ever had.
Yeah.
We actually made 2 turkeys, which we always do for our size family, but it was,
yeah,
hands down the best.
The one thing I would say is we weren't sure how to, without weighing them on something, we weren't sure how big they were. And so after we butchered them and everything, I think they ended up being between 12 and 15 pound birds.
Yeah. We had a couple smaller ones. There was a couple like 10 pounders in there.
We would like to get them a little bigger, so we're going to grow them out a few more weeks this year and see how that goes.
We also got a different breed this year because I thought smarter and didn't work as hard and went ahead and placed my bird orders in the fall, late winter. Late fall, early winter this time to be able to make sure we got what we wanted.
And turkeys are, I think they might be intimidating to some people, but they're actually really chill.
They're hilarious, and I'm going to show you a video here of our kids when they realize that they sing to you. It is so funny.
Yeah, they like to talk back.
They do.
Yeah.
They're mouthy.
Yeah. So then we can go to the garden. We one of the things that we wanted to do was obviously raise as much vegetables and produce that we could. Since it was the first time we actually were having a big garden, she was really excited about trying all the tomatoes. So like we had, I don't know, probably 20 different varieties of tomatoes out here.
Yeah.
And probably like 5 plants of each or something.
It was wild. So here's the thing. If you already are a gardener at heart, you'll know. Just plant all the seeds. The seed packet costs you $2. You go buy the started plant. It's way more expensive, right? In a nursery or whatever. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I have the space for all the tomatoes and I am going to do the thing. Well, I found out in June that I was pregnant with this little blessing. So all we really got accomplished with the garden last year was tomatoes and peppers that I had already planted in May because I got horrible morning sickness and it was hot and it was rough going.
On top of her getting pregnant, we also Our oldest son got married in June.
Yeah.
And so we were throwing a wedding.
We were.
And we were just really busy. And so we were just so busy that we're like, you know what? We had the pigs, we had the meat birds, we had the turkeys. We were just doing so much, so we were like...
The Jude.
Yeah. So we were just like, hey, let's just like chill.
We did. But we brought in, oh my gosh, so many tomatoes.
Probably a couple 100 pounds. I remember there was a few harvests, like we brought in like 60 pounds of tomatoes one day, and then like a few days later we brought in like 60 more pounds of tomatoes.
Yeah.
It was so many tomatoes.
So many tomatoes, and they were delicious. I think we've eaten through pretty much all of them. I have a few jars of salsa left, but that's pretty much it. I canned most of them. We did fresh eating, of course. Once it got to the point where the garden was done and I was done with it, just due to being so pregnant, we put our chickens and our hogs in here to till it all up again and clean it up a little bit. We did not have the straw in here last year. I did some pine shavings instead, like animal bedding pine shavings, and it worked really well for what I got done. But I definitely am excited to see how the straw works out. I think it'll probably be a little bit easier for me to keep the weeds at bay. I know that's kind of laughable because I know there's seeds still in straw, but I think now not having morning sickness, that will help me keep on top of the garden. But yeah, this year I didn't really start nearly as many seeds. Actually, I didn't start any seeds this year because he came along in March. So we're letting the season be a season, and I went ahead and purchased a few things. So we have, some different varieties than what we had last year. So hopefully no one's going to be too mad that I don't have some of the same ones from last year, but they'll still be delicious. And this year we expanded quite a bit, so I'm excited to take you along for that. I expanded quite a bit what I was growing due to just obviously having more time, and two, the space is better laid out. I think we learned some things last year. Some certain beds, certain configurations, the way the sun hits and stuff is pretty much full sun almost all of the day. So I think we learned some things in that space too.
Yeah. One thing we did for trellising last year was we were just going through a lot, trying to accomplish a lot. So we were just trying to keep it on the cheap and budget friendly.
Right.
And again, I think as homesteaders, you got to learn how to do things the way that you can.
Yep.
And so we just took some T-posts and we ran some string between them.
Yeah, I had some thick cotton, like macrame thread, like basically like thick yarn, and ran that all through the T-posts, and then we tied up each leader of the tomato up and then just continued to stretch it higher and higher, as high as it would go. It was a jungle and it was a hot mess, but we got some food.
Yeah.
And I don't regret that at all, because I think honestly in a pinch you really could grow your tomatoes like that. You see them cut down to 1 or 2 liters and beautifully arch trellised, or not arch trellis, but cattle paneled up and things. And of course that's what we're doing this year. If you can see, there's cattle panels behind us.
And we upgraded this year.
We upgraded, but I don't think you have to have it the way Pinterest or someone else does it. You just try something.
Yeah.
Try something out and see what happens to it. Worst case scenario, it fails. You fail at everything that you don't try. So try.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about the garden this year. We're going to do a whole lot more, have a whole lot more variety of food.
Yeah, I'll take you on garden tours and stuff. And honestly, if anything, it's just for me to document what I have out here and enjoy it. So it'll be fun.
So directly behind us here, this is our pasture. It's almost 3 acres. We've got a total of about 6 acres here. So the first half is our house. We have a shop. I've got a barn, and then in the garden, and then the back 3 acres is pasture. And like I said, it was way overgrown. And so we're just gonna take you on a little walk of the pasture. Our hope is, let's see, right here is our barn. So we want to run from the corner of this barn all the way to, there's a fence post right up there. I don't know if you can see it. So we want to run a fence from the barn to that fence post. And then we got to repair some of the fence that's on the other 3 sides. Once we get that done, then I feel like we can actually get some larger animals. We'll probably start with sheep, and then eventually we'd like to have a dairy cow. But we're just going to take you a walk of this pasture. It was in really bad shape when we first got here, and there's so much more grass. It's so much better now. The one thing that we're trying to figure out, I need to do some research, or if you guys know, this first area when we first walked in, they had horses here, I think. And when we first walk into the pasture where the horses were, we have a ton of thistle, and I mow it and I mow it and I mow it. It doesn't go away. Run the chickens through it. They don't touch it, and so trying to figure out what to do to get rid of this thistle. But it's only, I don't know, maybe a quarter acre that's got some thistle, but the rest of it is just beautiful grass now. It's just really grown. I mow it probably once a month when it's growing real well, and it's looking really great. I can't wait to get some animals on there. So these 3 acres, I think what we want to do for the larger animals, like if we get steer or dairy cow, is to break it up into 6 half-acre
paddocks.
Yeah, 6 half-acre paddocks, and I think that'll give us enough to rotate them.
Yeah, have the sheep follow, the chickens follow.
Yep.
It's a really great permacultural way to cut down your pesticide load, as well as, actually I think it's cows, chickens, sheep, but you get the point.
Yep. Yeah. There's a few trees out here. We've got they're mostly mulberry.
Yeah, and they're actually really healthy. I didn't even realize what they were until there were way too many worms for my comfort in them, and so we just let the birds have them. But I'm actually gonna harvest some this year and see if I can make some mulberry jam, because there are so many, not just in the pasture but along the fence lines. There's mulberries as well, so yeah. Then there's also one kind of by where we're gonna put our greenhouse.
Yeah, I
made him keep that one. He cut down quite a few trees. There were so many saplings, and just it was just so much, guys, so much. The thistle is so much, there's just so much, but we're working on it.
Yep.
It's getting cleaned up.
We had some Bradford pears out here too. We got rid of those. We don't really, I think they're really invasive and
smell terrible. They look beautiful, but they smell horrible.
So we got rid of all those. So the past 2 years, we were just trying to get started.
Yeah. I think we did a really great thing. It was so fun.
Yeah.
We gave our children an epic space to play. We created a space that's honestly just like a legacy home. Our kids are well invested in everything that we do. They all have farm chores. We have a daughter-in-law now. We have a new baby. And then on top of that, our homestead thing. Honestly, I feel like we learned a lot of things. And now I feel a lot more confident in, honestly, YouTube. Like we've said in our other video, like it was one of those things where I was like, I have analysis paralysis. I think more because it's like I want to put my hands on what I know to make sure that I know what I know. And now I feel like we actually have that. And so it's a big blessing, I feel like, to be able to walk in confidence a little bit in the next season. I
think we had a little bit of fear if we started sharing some stuff with you and then it was an epic failure.
Yeah.
What does that look like? But you know what? We're going to bring you along for the ride anyway.
Even if we have epic failures, I'm sure we're going to have plenty.
Hopefully the best thing for anybody, I think, is to learn from other people's mistakes. So if we could just share maybe some of the failures we've had, we could hopefully you can avoid the heartache of investing in something that doesn't pan out.
Yes. But I will say, taking risks is really tough for my personality. I like comfort, but man, there's so much to gain from that risk, because we had some of the best meals this past year. I feel like our quality of meat is the best. I'm so sad. We literally only have 4 chickens left in our freezer, and we did about 100 birds last year.
First one we did 75.
Yeah.
And then we did
30-ish. No, we did a smaller flock, but it was about 30-ish. We put away about 100 birds.
100 birds, and we're a big family. We're now 11.
Yeah.
And we went through that food pretty quick.
We did. raised up 2 hogs, sold 1, kept 1, and there's not much of babe in the freezer. So I'm excited to just grow our freezer and grow our knowledge and take you along for it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
So again, thank you guys so much for just tuning in, and thanks for watching the last video.
Yeah.
Had a lot of great feedback on that, so thank you guys. We'd really appreciate it if you would just like this video or subscribe. That would help us out a lot. But we love you guys. God bless,
Yep.
and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.